So it is, if you translate it from reactive to proactive, it is from need to want to. If you tell people that they need to change, they won't do it. If you find out what people want to change, that is often more an internal motivation factor. And only like the effect of only changing the wording that you use when you talk to your team members has a major effect. And I've been in a position where I thought I was a really good manager because I sat down with my team and I said, okay, team, we need to pay attention. We need to start focusing on getting everything done. And we need to start focusing on finally getting those forecasts in order. You can guess what happens. We were never done on time and our forecast kept being the most shittiest forecast ever. As soon as I started to change my language in, I want to give you guys everything that you need to become better. I want you to succeed and I want you to feel part of a success. That's where I used wording that was triggering internal motivation, because suddenly it was something that they could think about it themselves. What is it that they wanted to do? Also, what is a really big thing in a language area, and I see this happening a lot, is a conversational change. And often when we find ourselves, especially as leaders or in management, if we find ourselves in a position that we talk to our teams, we tend to use a conversation style that is more around convincing. For example, if you are a Scrum Master or an Agile coach in your organization, you probably can relate to this by having conversations with higher management or your executive team in order to tell them why Agile in your organization. It is really easily done to start having a convincing conversation. As soon as we start to create an idea that we need to convince the other person of our beliefs and our view of the world, we stop listening. What the other person hears is, this is the one and only true story, and this is what you need to hear, and you need to accept it. It is all based on reactive language. And again, it triggers a fight or flight reaction with most people. And they start putting up their walls and not listening or challenge you to every single bits and pieces that you're telling. And you go nowhere with your discussion. If you can change your way into an influencing conversation, and that is more asking questions, you will know it, the powerful questions, the open questions, that kind of stuff. But if you start asking questions that is related to proactive language, you start to see a completely different setting in your team. It is not only that you as a leader will be changing by using your language, because it has a major effect on yourself as well. But you will see that a lot of people respond to it without actually knowing that you changed anything. If you want to know more about this, and this is the first tool, I highly recommend to read this book, Leadership as Language, from David Marquet. Amazing guy. He writes a lot of cool books. Sometimes you agree with him, sometimes not. It is not really important, for me at least, if I need to agree with him. But what he describes is his view on what language does from a leadership point of view. I've got it still here in my bookcase. I use it every single time. Every now and then he talks about blue and red language, which is reactive and proactive language. And he explains how he used blue and red language in his work as a leader on a submarine, on a marine ship. Really interesting, completely out of most people's industries and work environments. So therefore, it's also really cool to see that it's not so much linked to an industry or to a business. And I can highly recommend you to read this. The second thing has come up for me, at least, because I tend to see that a lot of leaders focus on making people better, which is a perfect way to do it. If you look up servant leadership, it is a lot of the time supporting or creating an environment where people can thrive. It is an awesome way to go for it. But sometimes we translate that into a not so healthy environment. This quote just spoke to me in a sense that I find it quite connected to how I view the world often. But I see in my current organization as well, leaders to do exactly the same thing and expecting a different outcome. And that becomes an internal battle with yourself, but also often a battle with your teams. And that has to do that everyone, and I strongly believe this, everyone from a leadership point of view and other roles in your organization have the intent to create a good environment around them. Nobody likes to work in a crappy environment where they don't feel safe. Yet we often do create those environments.